away.
We're wanted men. I have spoken.
One more time.
One more time. I still hear you.
I know. There we go. Now it's up and running.
Oh man.
I don't know, man.
The gremlins
Freaking
are out.
Zoom.
The gremlins.
Gremlins. It's been a minute since we had some gremlins, but you know what that means. Welcome to the Smugglers Galaxy podcast, your favorite Star Wars podcast for smugglers in the galaxy. It's the post-Dragon Con edition, episode 208 in our journey.
This is my 201st episode.
Wow.
We forgot to benchmark last week that it was my 200th episode.
It's amazing that I keep forgetting that you came on like 8 episodes in.
Yeah.
And how much things changed when you did that.
Everything changed. It became a weekly sheer.
Right. So I just got back from Dragon Con. How was your weekend?
It was good. It's relaxing and just doing a lot around the house, trying to get that office ready so I don't have to use this virtual background anymore. I've decided to do a cantina theme in that room. So we're going to do Star Wars Light in the office. It's not going to be like the Star Wars room. It's going to be less is more kind of thing. That's
Right.
the
That's
whole
awesome.
goal.
Dude, I did when I was at Dragon Con, I saw a print and it was a tiki version of the cantina. And it looked really good.
What was it? A model of cups? What was it?
No, it was so there was a lot of some people that had like tiki art.
Uh-huh.
And this guy had a tiki. I should have got yesterday was overwhelming, but it was like, imagine the cantina as tiki mug. It was just like tiki figures, not really mugs, but I guess in between a tiki figure and a mug, or you know, them as tiki figures. And it was like everybody, and it looked really awesome. And should have got his card, but I forgot because it was overwhelming.
But as far as pickups, I mean, it was a very light week. I did get that Salacious Crumb print off of eBay, and it is a print with Earl McCarthy's signature on it. It matches all the other signatures that I have of him, and it comes with a certificate of authenticity that matches the other ones with his signature on it. So it's legit because, like I was saying, I wanted to make the office cantina themed. I was going to go buy Ponda Baba, Walrus Man. And 2 days before, I was checking eBay, and I really wanted to check out with it, but I was like, I don't just want to see that first print. I want to make sure it's authentic, and it was. And so when I went to go buy it, it was gone.
Yeah, it was. As soon as you showed me those prints, I noticed that somebody like 12 hours before had posted in one of the groups the eBay link.
Yeah.
So I'm sure they all disappeared once people started realizing they were real.
But I did get Moff Tech, the mini transforming head that they never made, so it's unproduced. And then I also got Duros, which is the Cad Bane looking guys.
Yeah.
In the cantina. Those are 2 heads that were unproduced. And I got Chewbacca because I have the original print of Chewbacca.
Right.
So I can match up the original with the print, which I think is pretty cool. And then they also had a Leia. It's the Leia with holding the lightsaber. I picked that up at Rogue Fun.
Mm-hmm.
And this is a print with his signature. So I've got all 4 of those coming, and I'm excited. And maybe in a couple weeks, if they're still out there, I might get a couple more. But for now, that's what I'm getting. And then finally, last night, I was at Walmart, and they had Series 6 of the blind pack for Micro Galaxy Squadron, and I picked up 2 of them. And I also picked up the box to go with it because I'm collecting those boxes. We were at Target on Saturday, you and I, and they were selling them for $15. I did a price scan before I checked out because that's something that people have been running into at Target.
Yeah,
At
we had
Wal
go ahead.
at Walmart they were $5. So I got two.
Nice.
They're just general releases, and yeah.
Yeah, we had ran into a couple with their kids at Target, and we were talking, and you always feel like, am I being the creeper or what? Because like they're showing the kids my tattoos, and you know, you're like, you kind of feel weird, but you're like, you know, it's Star Wars, let's go. Um,
As long as you're not offering kids candy to get in your car, I think you're fine.
yeah, I was not doing that. So, but they were raising them kids right, because they were just like, they were showing her my Hera tattoo, and everything. The little kid was just like, "Oh, it's Hera," and I'm like, "Good
Yeah,
parenting."
they're doing it right because even they had the Phantom and they're like, oh look, there's this Chopper and this is Ezra Bridger. You remember? And I'm like, oh, these guys are fans because
Mhm.
if you know who Chopper and Ezra are, then you have to be a fan of Star Wars.
Right. Speaking of Chopper, we got our X-Wings from the wonderful Sam
Oh
Sams.
yes, Saint Sam, thank you.
Yeah,
Yes, we did
dude.
get those.
Oh, I guess Chopper doesn't fit in the X-Wing very well, does he? He doesn't. Oh, you didn't open yours.
I don't open. Oh,
Uh,
stopped opening
and I
them.
gotta say, I know you were like, I am biased because it is Hera. This is a great color scheme on the X-Wing. I love the color scheme on it. Yeah, it looks awesome. So thank you, Sam. I can't thank you enough for this, because I love that X-Wing. I love those characters.
Yep. And I put it up right next to my Antok Merrick X-Wing, and I'm like, it's the same thing, just repainted.
Well, of course it is.
Of
And
course it is.
somebody in the group was complaining that the Rebels, her X-Wing was not the right X-Wing, or they had done, or no, the A-Wing.
It's the A-Wing's not right.
Right, the A-ring's not right. And when we talked to Max at the time, and I even said, I'm like, dude, it's a money thing. They're not going to recast the A-wing just to make it right for one one thing where they can
Mhm.
run 20 or 10
Right.
A-wings off one mold. They just are like, sorry, yeah, we know it's wrong, but we're not going to spend the $100,000 to retool another ship from one ship.
Right.
And it's not even that wrong. It's just the nose is bigger. It's not, or longer. It's a big deal, but it's not a big deal. That's how they look at it. It's like, if you know what you're looking at, you're going to be mad. But other than that, oh well.
Okay.
So, anywho,
The OCD in me is like,
you're
just
like,
make the small one because that's the famous one from Return of the Jedi. And then, I mean, they can get, I think, more length with that mold than they could with the Last Jedi one.
yeah. Oh well, maybe that's what they should have done. I mean,
They
they
should have
messed up
done it that way.
the lats. Is it the lats?
I don't know.
Or whatever. One of the ships from Clone Wars, not Clone Wars, or I guess it's from Clone Wars, but
Yeah.
in what the guns are too big or too long on them,
Oh.
because they used the wrong concept art. But whatever. I mean, stuff happens.
Um, but yeah, did you pick anything up outside of Dragon Con? Because we'll get to Dragon Con.
I don't think so.
Okay.
No, the only thing I have is this, and I haven't outside of Dragon Con, no, there has been no pickups, because yeah, I was been saving all my money for Dragon Con, I believe. Yeah, no, it's all been Dragon Con.
Okay. Well, I do have some news. And I wish I could give attribution to this, but there was no attribution from what I could see. Someone has deciphered the Arabish on the map from Ahsoka, the one that expands and kind of
Ooh,
rotates at the.
at the end,
Was it at the end?
because there was
Anyway,
two. There was a map over the credits, and then there was a map when he in the ball.
I thought it was the one where the stone temple is and expands and the it's earlier in the season. It's the
Okay.
jumping off point to Peridia.
Okay.
But I could be wrong. Anyways, it translates three there were who made the journey, without whose knowledge there is no returning. A pathway connecting near and far across the heavens, star to star, despite great power which do object the secret way the three protect. So heed the path with a watchful eye, for if you wander, you will die. So it sounds a lot like the Father, the Son, and the daughter.
Yeah.
I would imagine those are the three because then you've got the the stone sculptures in the mountain of the father and the son. The daughter's not there, right?
Right.
Yeah.
No, the mother, that's
The daughter and
the
the father. The son's gone.
daughter, father, and oh, you mean at the end?
Yeah, at
Yes.
the end. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways.
So interesting.
Um, Also this week, some people were review bombing the Acolyte merchandise.
Dude.
It's like, get a job. You're beating a dead wampa at this point.
Dead Wampa. Because Manny was at Dragon Con and I so wanted, he had people in line when we walked by him.
Manny
And I didn't,
Jacinto,
yes,
the stranger.
the stranger, the guy who played and I so wanted to walk up to him and be like, dude, Disney did you wrong. Or not Disney, but they did you wrong, man. And just compliment him and tell him how good of a job he did and how much of a badass I thought he was in the series. And I thought he did a pretty good job, especially being able to turn on a dime in his acting. And
Mhm.
I just didn't want to wait in line because I just feel like if I was going to wait in line, I would have to pay for an autograph.
Yeah.
But if there was no one at the table, I think you could go up and talk to him for a minute. But I didn't want to take up his time, and but I felt and I just never made it back around to the table because the autograph room was kind of a cluster, but it's a good
Yeah.
kind of cluster. So we could talk more about that later.
I did get a hate comment on YouTube this week. Someone was rather aggressive. I mean, we always say hashtag vote with your wallet.
Uh-huh.
But I mean, he was just like, when are you going to get it through your thick skulls that, when you don't get money, you're not going to make money or something along those lines. I didn't really pay much attention, but I just go back to, yeah, it was the lowest watch show for a Star Wars show on Disney Plus, but why was it the lowest watch show?
Because people were mad. Well, the same thing we talked about last week. Is it
Exactly.
because
I'm not going to rehash
right?
it, but
Because they were, oh, it's a girl that likes dressing as a boy directing it. Who
yeah.
gives a shit?
A petition is asking Disney to renew the Acolyte. What was it? Wednesday of this week, it had 53,000 signatures. It's Nemesis. The Don't Renew the Acolyte petition had 8,200 signatures. So more people want it come back than to go away.
Well, it's just like Solo 2. Everybody got behind to make Solo 2 happen, and it's not going to happen.
Yeah, that one stings. I mean, even Kira, like that whole thing in Darth Maul, you could just explore the dark side a little bit. We can have anti-heroes in a Star Wars property.
Right. Well, I think that's kind of where they were going to go with the next movie, or that's felt like that's what they were setting up, and it just never happened.
Yeah.
But
Sigourney Weaver said she met Grogu on the set of The Mandalorian and Grogu, which confirms that she is indeed part of The Mandalorian and Grogu. She there was a rumor that she was part of it, but no official confirmation, but that's coming from her lips. For those that are hoping for a Captain EO crossover, don't expect an alien one. She's not playing Ripley. So I wonder what Grogu would look like, or the alien that would come out of Grogu if that was the case. Would it be like the one from Spaceballs, where it's like all cute and cuddly and singing?
Hello, my baby. Hello, my darling. Hello, my ragtime gal.
It's just like chewing on the heart like it's a little cookie. It's spitting out blood. Hello.
He has a macaroon.
Yeah.
Oh, goodness. That
And
would
then
be funny.
I saved this one for last because it's a nice pivot. Natasha Liu Bordizzo was at Dragon Con, and there was some sort of Star Wars panel,
Yes.
and she did confirm that season 2 starts filming next summer.
I have stories.
Okay, tell your story. Let's go. So I expect a 2026 release date, but go.
Okay, I got to get myself together.
Oh, he's already starting to cry.
I was not expecting to go into this right now, but yes, I got to meet her. Yeah, I'm trying not to tear up, but she was awesome. I was like, dude, I'm not gonna cry. I'm not gonna cry. I'm not gonna cry. I'm not gonna cry because she was like, they said she was gonna be there at 12:30. She had a panel that I don't know why her panel got out at 12:30, and they were like, she'll be back at 12:30. They really should have said 1:00, because she ended up going to get something to eat. So we were there for about 45 minutes, just standing there, which was not good on our knees and back. We're old. But But anyway, long story short, when it came my time, and there was a line. By the time she got there was a decent line. Probably had like 50 people in line. I would get, well, probably like 10 or 15 where we were, and then they started another line, an overflow line down the hall. And so I was like, crap, she's just gonna go through. She is just gonna fly through these autographs. I thought it would be another Ewan McGregor thing with you, where she was just gonna sign them and go on. So she gets to me, and fudge, I hate this. This is how emotional this character makes me. And I just looked right at her, and I'm like, I said I wasn't going to lose my shit. And here I am losing my shit. And she looks right at me and goes, it's okay to lose your shit. You can lose. This is a safe space. You can lose your shit. And I told her, how much Sabine mean to me and how good a job she did. And she legitimately looked at me and goes, you want a hug? And she like gave me a full on freaking hug, not like a little crappy hug, like a good, tight, bear hug. Sorry, I need a tissue.
That's a wonderful story. I mean, Sabine's your favorite, and now you're getting a hug from Sabine. Like, it
And
doesn't get better than
I
that.
had gotten a piece of Christian art from her. Why the hell's my cat in here? Anyway, I had gotten a piece of like a print of one of Christian's pieces with her. It's her head with the scene where Ahsoka's fighting all the Death Troopers or storm, whatever, night troopers. And she was just like, oh my God, I've never seen this. And she took a picture of it, and we talked for a little bit. And, and we showed her our Sabine, my dog, it's like, look, this is how much, we named my dog after your character. And she was just like, it felt like 10 minutes. It may have only been 5, but she took the time. She could tell it meant something to me to meet her. And, it was a great experience. I got her autograph on the thing. And I really, like I said, I legitimately thought that, I'd only get like 2 seconds with her. Cause there was, like I said, there was a line.
Yeah.
And, she talked to, and then she was like, yeah, this is like one of the few and then we talked, I said, so season 2. And she was like, yeah, this is one of the few cons I can do, because it sounded like she was going to start recording next week or within a month. She was like, yeah, season 2's happening. And the reason I'm only doing a couple of cons, or this is one of the few cons I can do, because we got to go record.
Interesting, because
I know I'm hearing different reports, because I saw that guy report that she had said next summer, but maybe she has to prepare.
I mean, it doesn't take a year to prepare. At most, it'd be 3 months, but I mean, that'd be awesome if because when did they announce that? Last summer?
Yeah.
And so,
I mean, it legitimately sounded like she was getting ready to go record.
okay.
Hold on a second. Let me let my cat out. But yeah, she was like, yes, season 2's happening, and there was no secret.
No, there's no secret that season 2's happening. The question is when, and I'm just trying to logically think this through, because right now for 2025, the only thing they have is Andor season 2 that they've announced. If they start filming Ahsoka, well, I mean, we're in the fall, so maybe it's early 2025 that they start filming.
I don't know.
Because if she's going off to train, and like I said, it could take like 3 months to train, because she did a lot of lightsabers, and who knows what they're going to do with season 2 with the father brother sister thing, with all the lightsaber fights and all that. Maybe she is training, and then they start filming right after the holidays.
Right. Yeah, and I looked right at her and I said, those people that say Sabine can't be a Jedi? I'm just like, F them. Because I'm like, let her be a Jedi. And she's just like, yeah, let her be a Jedi. I don't, she goes, well, she loves weapons.
Yeah, she does.
So
she's a Mando.
Right. It was just, yeah, it was, I was so happy I was able to go to Dragon Con and get to meet her, because hearing the stories of, because everybody that met her was just like, she was awesome. And she, really took the time for the fans, and was really awesome to everybody who met her. Which, whenever you can walk away with a good experience like that, I mean, I'm not saying that your Ewan McGregor experience was bad, but it just sucks because it's like a turnstile. You got to get
Yeah.
got to get people out. Got to get people out. You got 200, and I don't know how much of that was because it was at Celebration, versus a smaller con. And maybe even at a smaller con, it would have been
Yeah.
as busy. But um, yeah, no, it was awesome. And my wife actually kind of had the same experience. Do you know the actor who played Luke Cage? Mike, his name's Mike something. I forgot his
Yeah.
last name.
Yeah.
So we were talking because when we figured out that we were going to go to Dragon Con, I was just showing her all the pictures of everybody that was there. And, so I'm looking, and I'm like, John Cleese was there from Monty Python. And I'm like, 20 years ago, I'd have been all over that. But I didn't even see him in the room because it's basically a big room with all the artists, with all the actors in it. And so anyway, she saw the guy from Luke Cage, and she's in another movie or in another show called Evil that she watches.
Mm-hmm.
And she showed it to one of the girls she works with, and both of them are just acting like little schoolgirls, like, oh my God, he's gonna be there. Oh. And I was like, and my wife does not freak out. My wife has met people because she worked at an airport when she was a teenager. Her family owned an airport, so they had celebrities in and out of there all the time. And that's the first time I've seen her freak out over somebody, because we walk the room, because it's all one big circle that you've got to walk around, and you can only go one way. And, there's a lot of people in there. There's probably, I don't know, 10,000, 6,000 people in that room, maybe. I don't know. It's a big room, and they have to control it, and you got to keep people moving, yada, yada, yada. So she sees him, and she goes, hold on a minute. And so she goes to the side, and she starts texting her friend, and her friend's like, yes, go get his autograph for me. And so we get in line, and she starts talking, and she hands the guy, shows her name, shows him her name, and her name is Fernaze, and she's from South Africa, or she's from Kenya, I think Kenya. And her husband's Korean. And so she's showing him her name, and he's just like, she's from South, and is her husband Korean? And he starts asking all these questions, and he's like, well, tell her about this stuff that I'm doing. And my wife looks right at him and goes, can you FaceTime her? And he's like, sure. So she gets on a FaceTime with this girl, with her friend, and they're in a hotel room, and she's just like still laying in bed, and she's like, are you naked? And she's like, yeah. And he's rolling with it. And he's just like, come on.
Oh my goodness.
And my wife is freaking out. She's tearing up because she sees her friend tearing up, and he's just rolling with it. And it's like, they don't have to do that,
No.
He
No, they
could have
don't.
just said, yeah, no, and I would have been happy if she would have just recorded a message for her, a video. But he was like, no, I'll get on FaceTime and spend a couple of minutes with her. And it was just like, it was such a cool experience. So it was to have two really awesome autograph experiences in one weekend, I think was awesome.
Yeah.
Because I don't know. To me, I don't expect something like that. The most I expect when I get an autograph from somebody is like a minute. Oh yeah, cool. I'm glad you like my show. Shake your hand, kiss the baby, move on. But it was just, huh?
Just sighing. It's just great experiences. I'm so happy for you too.
Yeah. So, and then so Natasha was set up right next to the people from What We Do in the Shadows, and I kind of really wanted to meet them, but it was like I'd already spent so much money on the weekend that I couldn't really get a whole lot of autographs.
Mm-hmm.
But it was fun to watch them interact with people, and it felt like it was a good everybody was having a good time getting autographs and meeting people. And we're standing in line waiting for Natasha, and then like Danny Trejo walks right by us, and it was just like, there's Danny Trejo, and there's other actors just walking in the room, and I knew who they were, but you just recognize them, you don't know who they are,
Mm-hmm.
and we're around a corner, and there's Giancarlo Esposito talking to somebody outside of his booth, and you're just like, oh shit,
You have something I want.
and he was like dressed to the nines. He was in
Yeah.
character. But
Another dude.
it was just, it was so cool, man. To meet her, that was, I'm still riding high. I was talking like just talking to my wife about it last night at dinner, and it's like you can't help but tear up because it like that of what that character means to me. You know, I just identify with her because of everything she's gone through and with the whole family stuff, and just, you know, it just, if you watch Rebels, except for the artist part, I really identify with her. Anywho, where should I start with my Dragon Con stuff?
The beginning.
The
And it
beginning.
Just
So
skip
let's
the Sabine
rewind to
stuff.
the beginning. We ended up getting there right at 10, and we were able to get into the artist floor pretty quick. And so we walked the artist floor. I had picked up a couple of pieces from Christian pre-show. So I had gotten the Sabine. So if you look over my shoulder, I'm going to raise my camera up. That picture right there that I have the concept art for, I was able to pick up a canvas of that. And then he did one that was,
Well, explain for the audios only.
sorry,
What is the print?
It's a canvas. It's the
Sabine's
scene
mask.
in Ahsoka where Sabine is watching Ahsoka fight the night troopers. And it's the reflection. I don't know if you don't know Christian stuff, you need to look him up, but he'll do a really tight shot of a character, and then you see the reflection in their eyes or their visor when it comes to Sabine. And it's a shot of Ahsoka fighting the night troopers.
Mm-hmm.
And so he had called me. He since I had the concept art, he called me. He's like, "Hey, do you want a canvas?" Because I guess they had done a wrong size of a canvas, and he's like, "You need to have this canvas because it's bigger than what I planned on selling at Dragon Con." So I went and I got that, and then he did one of the end of Rebels, which was the in front of the mural, and it's there again. It's Sabine looking at Ahsoka, and he showed me that piece like 2 years ago, and I was in tears at that moment. And so I picked up a canvas of that one, and he had both of those originals sitting at the booth, and he was just like, "Yeah, I've never seen people freak out over." He was like, "The emotion that this art." I said, "Dude, that one piece is very emotional for a lot of people because it means a lot to a lot of people." So I consider myself very lucky to have both of those canvases, and now I've got to rearrange a lot of stuff to make room for them. And then we picked up some art from our buddy Chris Hamer. We saw him, and he did some birds. He used to do a lot of bird pictures, and he got away from it. And then I guess he did another one, and my wife's like, "I want that." So we got a print of that, and then he had some stormtrooper. He did a stormtrooper, a Darth Vader, and a Boba Fett, where like the helmets had decayed, and you could see like a skull underneath them. And I picked up prints of that.
Those are Hamers?
Those are Hamers.
There's a Stormtrooper, a Vader, and Boba Fett?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And my wife was actually like, I was like, "I don't know where I'm going to put them." She's like, "You can put them in our bedroom." I was like, "Oh, okay. If you want those in our bedroom." She's like, "Yeah, all the Hamish stuff's in our bedroom." I'm like, "Okay, sure."
So Chris is with you in the bedroom.
Yes, exactly. I was like, "So you could watch us sleep."
Moving on.
Moving on. So anywho, we walked the artist booth, and she picked up another piece of art from this other guy that was H.L. Lovecraft inspired.
Mm-hmm.
But it's got tentacles, like tentacles coming down off this group of people, and the colors are just insane.
Yeah.
And it's a smaller print, so it's narrow and long. And it came framed, and she was like, "Should I get a print or should I get the canvas?" I'm like, "Get the canvas, because by the time you buy the frame, you're going to be right where you are if you bought the canvas, and it looks better." So she got that. There was, we had to be really picky with our art. We've got to be really picky with our art because we don't have space for it. Or, We have to start moving stuff around and maybe start rotating because of the amount of art we have in our office and in the house. So after that, thankfully, I kind of know Dragon. I kind of was able to take a step back and look. We went and had some lunch, and so we were looking around. And I'm just gonna gripe for a second, but like there was a Firehouse Subs had like a main location and a location off to the like the back of the room where they had pre-made subs. And so we're like, oh shoot, let's just go get Firehouse Subs. And so the subs were like $9 a piece. I'm like, you know what? That's fine. That's basically what they charge anyway. And then I'm like, can I get can I get the combo? And she's like, well, do you want drinks, a chip, and a cookie? I was like, wow, it comes with all that. And she's like, yeah. Well, I said, for $1.50. She's like, no, they're $1.50 each. And I'm like, scalp much? So I'm like,
It is a
$1.50.
con.
Yeah, it was a con, but it was the way downtown's set up. There's several buildings that have food courts in them. So that's where this was. It was connected to the con, but it wasn't in the con type situation. But so I was just, that kind of was a bummer. But anyway, I didn't get the bag of chips, and it's just me being a complaining old man. Then we went and waited in line for Natasha for an hour. Then we walked just kind of walked around, dude. I don't understand. The part I don't understand about Dragon Con is it's so spread out. It's over like 5 or 6 city blocks.
Yeah.
And it's like every building has a line wrapped around it to get into. And you don't know what's going on each building. So that would be my only complaint.
Yeah, I mean, we were talking about this on Saturday as we were running around, going to Second Chance and Target, and I don't understand why they don't move it to the Congress Center, which is the Atlanta's convention center. Other than the fact that it's always been in those hotels, and so to
Right.
change things, everybody would like revolt because the Marriott Marquis is such an iconic hotel, and that's where a lot of people hang out. That's where all the cosplay is, and so to move that would be, people would revolt. But yeah, I don't know. It doesn't make sense to go to 5 different hotels for a convention, and like you're saying, I would be frustrated if like, where do I go for here? Wait, I have to go 3 buildings over for this, and then I have to go 4 buildings back to go to this, and that just seems a little maddening.
Right. It was my wife. It was the first. She's been to Dragon Con before, but it's like we'll go to like the artist. We'll go to, because there's buildings called America's Mart here that they have a lot of I don't want to, the conventions is the wrong. They have some conventions in there, but it's more like what do they call it when like it's a convention, but like let's say I want to sell a product and it's stuff set up to where people want to like merchandise conventions, like, people will come in and be like, here's my product that I'm selling,
Craft fair?
not craft fairs, but like on a I guess like crafts fairs, but on a commercial level,
Oh, okay.
if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So like you're selling to Walmart, or you're selling to Target, you're selling stuff on a commercial
It's like
level
an
to
expo?
buyers. Huh?
Like an expo?
Yeah, an expo. It hosts those kind of things, and that's where the artist booths and the vendors' rooms are set up, and I think they work really good for that.
Were they
But it
selling
does,
Flex Seal?
yeah, totally,
They were?
yeah. Those people that we saw at that one convention that I bought all the beard stuff from?
Yeah.
They were there, and I was like, why are they at Dragon Con? But they're at Dragon Con, and I was kind of like, oh man, do I need some more beard stuff? I'm like, no, I just bought a bunch. I'm good. Um, but we'd only done like one, because I think there's 3 levels of vendors this year,
Wow.
and we'd only walked one, and it by the time we were done, I think either with that one level, we were like, we need to. It was getting late. It was like 3 o'clock by the time we were done, and I was exhausted, and I was really impressed. I was impressed by the what I saw on the 3rd level, because it didn't normally, when you go to Dragon Con, you feel like it's one booth has got tails, one booth has got masks, one booth has got lightsabers. oh, look, here's more tails, here's more mask, here's more lightsabers. It feels like it keeps repeating itself. And it did not feel that way this year. I mean, maybe the third floor was different than the other two. But it felt, yes, it was crowded, but it wasn't as crowded as it has been on the vendor floors. But maybe it's just because I hadn't been in a crowd in forever, and I didn't, you forget what it's like. And but no, I bought some stuff from this company called Has Pins, and I thought I had bought more pins because they had pins and stickers. And then I get home and I bought 3 pins and like 20 stickers. I was like, man, I wanted more pins because it was all on like a pegboard.
Yeah.
And you just start pointing at which ones you want. And I was like, oh, I want all these pins. And then we started buying stickers, and I never went back to pins. And we spent like $75 on 3 pins and a bunch of stickers. I was like, oops.
Yeah, I don't know if stickers are worth $75.
Well, they're cool. I
personally.
mean, look at that sticker. It's Sabine's
It's a cool
helmet.
sticker.
I mean, and then they had like Chopper approved. It's like, what do you have of Rebels? Throw it all in a bag for me. That's how
Chopper
it felt.
approved. War crimes. Chopper approved.
So I'm gonna put that on the back of my car.
Murder of a planet. Chopper approved.
And they had like Sabine's TIE Fighter, and it's like, and I'm emotional. Number one, I'm emotional because I just met Natasha, and it's Rebels, so it's like double. Like, let's just stab you in the nostalgia even more. So yeah, it was one of the funniest parts is they had a art auction, and Christian had put a piece in there, and I think it was like at $1,000, and I'm like, oh, it's only at $1,000, babe. And she goes, no, and she pushes me. She's like, you are not bidding $1,000 on that.
No, sir. Keep walking.
Come
Move
on,
along.
babe.
Move along.
She was like, no, we spent enough money today.
You got trips.
Yeah,
Focus
and we
on
got
that.
trips.
You can't spend $1,000 on a painting when you're going on a cruise.
Right. Yeah, we're
A
going on
Disney
a Disney cruise, and that's like a month away. I keep looking at my app, and it's like 45 days. Yeah.
I'm very,
So,
very. I didn't attend this year, but I did see the crowd for Jordan's one of Jordan's panels, and I'm very proud of him. And he was nervous, but it seems like it was incredibly attended, and I'm sure he did a wonderful job of he did one of like haunted toys. He had 3 panels, but the one that I would have wanted to have seen was the one about haunted toys. I think that would have been cool. But yeah, congratulations to Jordan for that.
yeah, he always has like 3 or 4 panels he does every year. I'm
But
like,
that was his
man,
first solo panel.
oh man, that's awesome.
Yeah, so congratulations to him.
Yeah, he does an awesome job with panels every year at Dragon Con. Well, the thing, like, okay, so yeah, speaking of panels, it really is. It's like you go to one hotel for panels, you go to one hotel for autographs, you go to one hotel for cosplay, you go to another. Well, the cosplay and the autographs, I think, are in the same hotel. Because it is an iconic hotel, the Marriott that was in Loki, like the main thing of Loki, where
Yeah.
they have the statues, they like pan up, and it's
So
it's used in a lot of Marvel stuff.
the Time
Uh,
Variance Authority
Yeah.
headquarters.
So that's they've used that there. What else am I thinking? But it is, I mean, after I've been there, it's like, yeah, I can kind of see why they keep it downtown, because if you've been going, and it's a very interesting mix of people too, because Dragon Con's been around for 50 years.
Wow.
And or 30 years. It's been around for a very long time. I mean, I remember I've been in high school. I've been out of high school 30 years. And we were talking about going when we were in high school, going to Dragon Con. So yeah, it's probably been around for 50 years. So you have the mix
38
of
years.
38 years. There you go. 40, almost 40, 38 years.
1987.
Wow. So you have the mix of people that have been going from the beginning to the teenagers that are just starting to go. So you have that old man walking around where you're like, what's he doing here? And you realize he's an OG. He's been coming forever. And once you get a lay of the land, it's you're okay, but you're above these buildings, and you're looking down, walking, and you just see lines everywhere. And I'm like, God, I wish I knew what that was for, but it may be something as simple as it's for somebody waiting on a panel. I don't know
Mhm.
where they host the really, really big panels there. Um, but it does seem like they have really big rooms for the panels, for the big ones. Cause like they had one panel that had all the Star Wars guests there. So they had, oh yeah, I got to walk by Ming Young, what's, Fennec Shan,
Ming Na
what,
Wen.
Ming Nong Wen. You got to at least walk by and see her, but she's busy signing autographs and she had one of the bigger tables. Um, but they had one, it was her, it was Giancarlo, it was Manny, it was Natasha, and it was one other person. I don't remember, but it wasn't Alan because Alan Tunin, I think, was more there for Resident Alien because it felt like because they had a bunch of people from Resident Alien there, so I think that's what his focus was this time. But they had a panel for that, and that room looked huge. So
Hmm.
yeah, dude, you need to go at least once. I think you're going to be overwhelmed, so you may want to go like on a Thursday or Monday when there's not a whole lot of people there,
Or Friday.
or Friday. Friday gets busy too. Friday, yeah, Thursday, Friday, or Monday.
Friday might be
Saturday,
good because it's busy, but it's not Saturday busy, but it's not Thursday dead.
right?
It's like
Uh,
somewhere in between.
I would not go on Saturday. The reason, I mean, but like Natasha was only there Saturday, Sunday, so you got to kind of, if there's somebody you want to meet, you got to
Yeah, you
pay
got
attention to when they're going to be there.
to. Hmm.
Um, yeah, you need to do it at least once. I like doing Dragon Con 2 to 3 years. It's sort of like Ren Fair for me. It's like you go, or Helen, or like one of the touristy trap places.
Hmm.
I like doing it every couple of years. I don't know if we're gonna, but like my wife found, so yeah, okay. Let me pull back a little bit. So after lunch and after meeting Natasha, after meeting Natasha, because we stood there, it's weird because it feels like if you stand in one place for too long, it's worse than walking for that 45 minutes.
Hmm.
And so we were both kind of worn out a little bit because you're standing, there's not a whole lot of room to move around in that line because they pack you in there. And we were both exhausted. And we actually saw Alan and his wife from Second Chance. We saw them and sat down for a minute. But there were these chairs. I'm jumping around. I'm sorry. But there were these chairs that were lining the room that were sort of like reserved for people who were having difficulties. So they were empty. And if somebody would have came and had physical difficulties or whatever, I would have given my chair up. But we all sat down and somebody came up and goes, "Are you guys okay? Do you need anything?" And I'm like, "Are you just resting?" I'm like, "I just need to get off my feet for a minute." So I thought that was really cool that they had that at Dragon Con.
Hmm.
And they also had like water fountains so you can refill your water bowl. But anyway, long story short, where I'm
Water
trying to get
bowl.
there, huh?
Water bowl.
Or your water bowl, your
I just
water
I
container.
picture you filling up your bowl and then getting on the ground and start licking it up like some dog.
Dude, I wouldn't be surprised if there was somebody there doing that at Dragon
Yeah,
Con.
it's Dragon
Because,
Con.
dude, it's Dragon Con, man. And it's everybody's there. So anyway, my wife wasn't going to come walk the vendor room with me. And then we saw somebody with quilts. So she found somebody who did a sip and sew. So I think you
Yeah,
were the
Shannon was telling me about this.
so I think she found the new outing for the ladies of the club. They may do a sip and sew one night. It's in Duluth, so yeah. She's like, "Oh, I bought a nice little cute sewing machine," and you could tell they were just like, "Oh, you're so cute." I'm like, because she bought a sewing machine so she can do the bandoliers for Chewbacca's. And
Hmm.
she's like, "I just need a little sewing machine." I'm like, "Babe, you're not gonna be happy with that sewing machine."
No.
So they were like, "Oh, we got sewing machines, we sell them." And um, so yeah, so I was like, "You see, isn't it good you came back with me?" And she's like, "Yeah, I'm glad I did." Um, so there you go. If even if you're tired, suck it up and keep going. But yeah, Timothy Zahn was there. I didn't get to meet him, but they were selling one of his books. I guess his publisher was there, and I almost bought it, but
Hmm.
I don't know. It was just one of those things. Do I want to spend $25 on a book? I don't know.
It's worth it.
Yeah.
Um, Going back to the Sabine talk real quick and just
Yes.
some thinking in the future, if she becomes a Mandalorian Jedi, she'd be the first one since who was who was the
Was it?
guy that had the dark saber?
It's a Vizsla, but I don't know.
Yeah, so does that mean that she trumps Bo-Katan in terms of who the true Mandalorian leader is, or is Bo-Katan the one that's going to because she's got the dark saber? Like
It
who,
would be Bo-Katan, I believe, with the dark saber.
even though Sabine would be a Jedi.
I believe so.
I guess she would have to fight Bo-Katan to get the
Right.
dark
And
saber,
I
but
don't
she's
see
not
that
going to do that.
happening
She's not
because
going to do that.
well, actually, it's not going to happen because the dark saber is destroyed.
Was it?
Yeah.
Need
What's
to
his
go
face
back.
destroyed it? Huh?
Need to go back and watch season 3.
Yeah, he destroyed it at the final battle when he was in that super armor. Moff
Oh, they
Gideon
could
destroyed
fix
it.
that. Luke Skywalker could fix that.
He can here you
If
go. Here's the dark saber 2.0.
if
Somebody did have a Lego dark saber. I was just like, "Oh, that's awesome looking." And then I heard the price and I'm like, "You can keep it, buddy."
if Rey could fix the broken saber from The Last Jedi, which was pulled apart in two by Kylo and Rey, then Luke Skywalker could definitely fix the dark saber.
I don't think she fixed it though, or did she fix it?
She did. She patched it up and she welded it, and
Oh, I thought it was already fixed when she got it.
now she had the two pieces, and then somehow she fixed it.
It was just like the Emperor. It was like somehow the Emperor returned.
Somehow the saber was fixed.
No, no. Gosh, I don't know what I'm thinking. If you're thinking of going to Dragon Con, go to Dragon Con, but be ready. It is crowded and it's all over the place. But yeah, I know. Shoot. I'm looking forward to episode or season 2 of Ahsoka because it's going to be awesome.
Cool. Well, in honor of my 200th episode, I do have some podcast notes, and I thought I would just review some of the titles from the previous episodes
Okay.
real quick. I found this out this week. Apple accounts for 12% of all podcast listening, which is far behind Spotify at 21%. And surprisingly, the market leader is YouTube with 31%. I guess with YouTube Music, which is a separate app,
Uh-huh.
people listen to their podcasts on YouTube. So we've uploaded our stream on RSS feed to our YouTube channel, and now you can access the Smugglers Galaxy audio version of the podcast on YouTube.
Awesome.
But ads now take up 10.9% of all podcast runtimes, up from 7.9% in 2021. So if you feel like podcasts have more ads, you're absolutely correct. Which reminds me, this episode is brought to you by Preparation H. When you have swelling, burning, pain, and itching caused by hemorrhoids, turn to Preparation H.
Yeah, there's not. I know people have gotten mad at us for having ads, and it just boils down to it costs money. I mean, it doesn't cost a whole lot of money for us to run it, but if we can make a little bit to help pay for Zoom or whatever, it's nice. But yeah, there's nothing worse than when you like listen into one of these podcasts and there's like 6 minutes of ads in the middle of something. I felt kind of bad for hitting fast forward, but then I just started hitting fast forward. I'm like, they're still getting their listens. They don't care.
Yeah, I do the same thing. But the weird one is like, there's one I listen to from Australia, and they'll drop in a very local ad. And I'm like, how did they do that? Somehow, when it was sent to my feed, they attached a very local ad to the
To
podcast.
Atlanta or Australia?
Atlanta.
I think it's got to be something in the analytics or something because it does feel because we've talked about it and we get different ads when we listen to this show.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's got to be something in the computer or they know what you like and they target ads to what you're into.
Maybe.
That's what I think. But
Yeah. But I'm just
unless it's
talking
like
about like the podcast is, 2 hours or something like that. And the first 30 seconds is the ad.
right.
So I just think when it's sent to my streamer, they must attach it and it makes it part of that 2 hours,
Gotcha.
if that makes sense. That's what I'm worried. That's what I'm interested in, I guess.
Yeah.
Episode 19 of the podcast was titled "If I Had FU Money, I'd Build a Canteen in My Basement." I still would. In fact, I had a 3D printing angel who sent me some life-size heads from Cantina Aliens.
Uh-huh.
And I've taken a break from 3D printing because after building my own Cantina 6-inch and then the Star Destroyer, it's like, what am I going to do now? What's left? Am I going to 3D print a benchy or something? Like it's just not interesting to me. But now that I've got these heads, I've started printing Ponda Bubba, also known as Walrus Man.
And you're doing that Black Series scale?
I'm doing that life size. It's just the heads. It's just the heads.
Oh my God,
So,
Jason.
yeah. So
The
I
shit
started,
our wives put up with, man.
so I've got that. I've got Snaggletooth. I've got Hammerhead, a Mayo. There's 4 other that I'm blanking on, but episode number 29. How do you say Detolf? How would you say it? Is it not Detolf
I
from
thought I'd
IKEA?
say it Detolf.
Oh, I don't know why we named it that.
Probably because we had an argument about it.
Yeah, but if we're both saying the same thing. I called it a Detolf. Or maybe I called it a Detolf or I don't know. Anyways, they're not available anymore at IKEA.
Right.
If something similar.
Well, to go back, pause it for a second. To go back at that time, that was back when I was doing the descriptions, and I would just pick something we talked about randomly in the show and make that our title. Where now that you're doing the description, you try to make it like official sounding.
Yeah.
And so that's probably why we did it that way. But yes, they discontinued the detox.
Episode 50. Is the Star Cruiser too costly?
Womp womp.
Yes, it is. I'll answer that question real quick. Number 54. Is Boba Fett worth the hype?
Not after the Book of Boba Fett.
Number 60. Give Me a Tab, which was our Back to the Future themed one, and it was highly listened to on YouTube, which was surprising.
Huh.
Number 70. Talk is Hard. It still is. Speaking of still is, number 97, having kids really cuts into your video game time. I still haven't finished Tears of the Kingdom, the latest Zelda, and they've got Outlaws that just came out. I don't have time to play that. It's like,
Well, the thing that's keeping me from playing Outlaws is the fact that I have to spend $500 on a new video game
a new
console.
system, yeah. But I'm gonna still have to buy one anyways for Grand Theft Auto 6, which comes out next year.
I want to say something, but I'm just going to keep it PG. So I'm just going to. Do you have some cars you got to rob? People you got to hold up?
Yes. Yes, that's it.
Yeah.
Number 100. I didn't think you guys would make it past 5 episodes. Neither did we. Episode 108, how to exit the hobby. If you exit the hobby right now, you're going to get nothing for your figure. So don't exit the hobby right now.
Stay around for a while.
Episode 124, are modern collectors leaving the hobby? Yes, the hobby has never been this unhealthy before, even in the dark times. One other thing I want to know, and I'll keep going through this, but Emily from Hasbro has cancer. She posted this on Instagram and she's going through therapy. So sending good vibes her way, and hopefully that she becomes cancer free and gets through this, because
right. The nerds that ask you about VC66 wish you well.
Yes. Number 127, a report from Morphe's auction. That wouldn't have happened without Saint Sam. So thank you, Sam.
Yes, Sam. Thank you.
Number 148, reviewing the Dial of Destiny. Watch it. You haven't watched it, watch it. And 174, Rebel Moon review. Don't watch it. Don't even listen to us talk about it. Just skip it.
What? Hold on, because you had a comment about Rebel Moon. What was comment
we
about
had a
Rebel
comment Moon? On this past weekend. That was one of the 3 comments we received. It was Rebel Moon, FTW for the win. Hashtag Snyder cut. And I'm like, is this a bot? What is this? Are they just going through to see where Snyder is and is mentioned, and then they just a Rebel Moon and they just bomb us with comments or something?
Yeah.
Number 177, changing collecting habits. My habits have changed a little bit since we started.
Yeah.
I stopped collecting Black Series.
Yep. I did too. Yeah, now I'm just collecting. I'm being very picky.
Number 177, 184, to sell or not to sell, Sigma Ceramics. Did you sell those?
Yeah, I did. And I bought more Bill and Ted stuff, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I did. I was real. I think I've got one more piece left of the Sigmas, but yeah, I made out like a bandit on those.
Mm-hmm.
One of the few times you're able to.
Number 189, Disillusioned Collector. Get it together, Lucasfilm and Hasbro. Let's do this. Get back to traditional Star Wars telling. And then number 190 is TVC ending now. It's going until at least 2027, that's for sure.
They have to fill that cantina.
Yeah. The other comment we received this week was about the Star Speeder, which is that 3000 limited edition 3000 Star Speeder. Someone said that their sources are saying that it's not going to be produced in a bigger release. So who knows? Who's to say? When there's money on the table, Disney will find a way.
Just like life.
Just like life from
Oh,
Jurassic
dude,
Park.
you know what I saw? And I saw the cosplay at the corner of my eye. Somebody was dressed as Malcolm from Jurassic Park.
Ian Malcolm.
Ian Malcolm. And it had, I believe it would have been a doctor. The old guy dressed all in white. He was pushing him on a cart, and Ian Malcolm was in his pose. And he was just pushing him through Dragon Con.
Nice.
But it was too far away. I couldn't get to him in time because it's just that crowded. You see something and you're either on top of it or you're like, oh, that looks cool. I guess I'll see that later.
Trying to play a video real quick on YouTube, but it's going through a
and there was Ricky Bobby
ads.
Shake and Bake was there. So that
Shake and Bake.
Shake and Bake. But the people watching at Dragon Con is awesome. And there's no way, because I was talking to somebody and he was just like, yeah, I'll sneak in. I'm like, you can't sneak into Dragon Con because it's like every entry point, they're checking your badge. There you go. Hold on. So there's no sneaking in at Dragon Con.
Have you seen this before?
No.
So you two,
my kids hate it.
Dig up dinosaurs?
Oh.
Try to.
Yo. 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 Yo.
So that's just 3 minutes of him doing that?
It's a whole video. And then they start like doing psychedelic stuff where there's colors flying in the screen and his head's bouncing around. It's Jurassic Park is one of my all-time faves.
I love Jurassic Park. It's right there behind, like, back to, you got Star Wars, Back to the Future, which is like 1A, 1B, and maybe like Blues Brothers. It's right in there in like the top 5, top 10 movies.
We were watching it last weekend. I got it in 4K. It was one of those Prime Day, just, I don't know, for the heck of it purchases. Like, oh, it's $4. I'll just buy this.
Right.
And so I got it and I watched it with Josie. She had never seen it before. And she was just like horrified. And they get to the scene where they're in the kitchen and the velociraptors are in there.
Right.
And she's just like freaking out. And I go, wait till you see who dies next. Totally set the stage. She was expecting one of the kids to die and they never died. So she was just like, what did you do that for?
I saw a meme and I wish I should have saved it, but it's like 24 hours in the life of these people trying to fight for their lives. My comfort movie. And it was Jurassic Park.
It is. It is. Unfortunately, the other ones really didn't get to the same height as Jurassic Park, but I've grown to love The Lost World. Jurassic Park 3, I enjoy quite a bit because Alan Grant was my favorite at the time.
Right.
I think I like Ian Malcolm more now just because it's Jeff Goldblum. I've grown to like really love Jeff. And then Jurassic World kind of captures the spirit of the first one, even though it's like a pale imitation.
Right.
Jurassic World Dominion. Well, there was Fallen Kingdom, which is not as good, but then Dominion is kind of. Anyways, there's a seventh one coming out next summer
Yeah.
where they have to go back and extract some DNA because the dinosaurs have a cure for a disease or something like that.
That's kind of messed up.
Yep. But it gives them a reason to go back to the island that seems more legitimate than let's just go see the dinosaurs. Let's drive around and hope that all goes well.
Yeah.
You guys didn't notice the camera crew? It's not going to go well because they're making a movie of it. Anyways. Anything else?
No, that's it. I was thinking that Natasha was in one of the Jurassic Park movies, but it's not coming up
No.
in her IMDb.
I don't think she was.
I thought she was. I thought she played like one of the bad guys, but I may be wrong. Oh well.
Well, if you find out, we'll report on it next week.
Yeah.
Thank you for listening to the Smugglers Galaxy podcast. If you could, please leave a like and a 5-star review of the show anywhere you listen to podcasts. It really helps us out and points people to our show. You can follow us on social media. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, and now YouTube. Send us an email or message us. We love feedback. We love to make you part of the show. Our email address is smugglersgalaxy@gmail.com. What were you waving for?
Because we were on YouTube.
Oh, hi, YouTube. Okay. I see what
Hi,
you're saying.
YouTube.
Thank you to Alfonso Riviera for the Smugglers Galaxy logo. Thank you to Levi Waterhouse for the music. Hasbro, where's my ghost? Hashtag vote with your wallet. I suspect Lando Calrissian is not his real name. Pass on what you've learned. Be a positive force in the collecting community. This is the way.
This is the way. I want an update on the ghost, damn it.